Hey guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and welcome to my craft room. Today's video is the Whip It Wednesday video where I show you everything that I've been working on in the craft room this week, and I go into detail and give you pattern names, how I feel about it, etc, etc, etc. Basically, we get to sit and chat today. One of the things I worked on is I finally went ahead and put some batting and some backing and quilted up my Freedom embroidery. Now this embroidery, you have to excuse me because I'm looking at my notes. I'm trying to be very good about giving you guys the details. This embroidery is from, it's called Freedom by Alley Oops Designs on Craftsy. What I'm thinking about doing is when I put up the Whip It Wednesday video, I'm thinking about putting up a companion blogger post over on my blog, which is listed down below in the description box, but generally, if you Google RsIslandCrafts, you're going to find a list of everywhere I'm at. But it's RsIslandCrafts.blogspot.com, I believe. I forgot the name of my blog there for a second. So yeah, I'm thinking about putting that up so I can put all the links to everything so it'll be easy for everyone to find. So this is the Freedom. I hand embroidered it. This was well before the 4th of July, and then it just sat. I did use the calculator tape scraps on the side. I decided, the reason this sat for so long is I decided afterwards that I should have mitered the corners, that I would have liked it a lot better. But I'm thinking about, even though, yes, this is done, but even though a wall hanging or a quilt is finished, you can still add to it later if you want. And I'm thinking about putting some white stars in the 4 corners, kind of to match this and to balance it out so there isn't, because I didn't do exact 2-inch squares or something, you kind of get this little bit of a mess here, and I think that would have been much better if I'd have mitered the corners. I didn't miter the corners because I've never mitered the corners and I didn't want to mess it up. So this sat for a while. But I went ahead and did simple quilting because it's a wall hanging. It does not need a lot of quilting. I just went and I echo quilted, stitch in the ditch type of situation with a very light gray thread all the way around this actual white piece in the center. There you see the quilting. It just, I went along, I put the little line on my presser foot where it marks the center of the presser foot. I put it right along this edge here, and I just took my needle, because my machine allows me to move it over. I just moved it over 1 tick so that it rode right along the edge, and instead of stitching in the ditch on this side, it stitched along there. I think it holds it together really nice. I didn't have any more fat quarters that are red and blue because I used them on my placemats, so I decided to go ahead and use this marine fabric because, hey, the Marines, Freedom, I think it goes together fine. I didn't want to have to piece the back. I really just wanted to get these done yesterday, and here they are. And I went with a simple red binding because, hey, you know, it's a red, white, and blue quilt that goes perfectly. I hand stitched the back, the binding to the back, because I did not want to have to, I want to avoid doing any of the machine stitching of the binding onto the wall hangings. I like to spend that extra bit of time working on my project by hand stitching it. Plus, I don't have any weird stitches that go across the binding, and everything lays nicely. So I finished that one. And then I worked on this wall hanging. As you can see, I have not finished stitching the binding down yet. I ran out of time. Well, I ran out of eyesight last night more than anything because black thread, black binding, black backing, yeah, I couldn't see any more after dinner last night. But this is the Valentine Hearts Table Runner. Once again, if you've been here for a while, you saw this earlier this year or last year. This is from Bejeweled Quilts by Barb. It's the design she used. She used her AccuQuilt Go cutter to cut out the hearts. She had fan folded the fabric, but she accidentally got it in the wrong spot, so it cut all of these hearts in these connection spots right here and right here. So she had all these. This one's fine, but then you go to the next one and they have these just 2 little crescent cuts right there. So she gave it away on her blog, and I was lucky enough to win. I went through and I machine stitched down the inside and the outside of the hearts to make sure they stayed down. I didn't want to do needle turn applique or hand stitch them down. I wanted to make sure they're nice and secure. It's really not set up for hand stitching like that, but I wanted to, this was the first quilt that I actually hand quilted without using big stitches with embroidery floss. So as you can see, I just took some red thread and I stitched inside and outside of the hearts and around the center, and then I let it sit. I wanted to do something in the center, hand stitching, but I just really couldn't figure it out. I tried a couple things and pulled them out and didn't like it, so then I decided, you know what, it's done. This is a nice little friendship heart Valentine thing from Barb to me. She did her cutting, designing it. I did the work by making it into a wall hanging. I'm going to call it finished. I wasn't sure. I couldn't find. This is from Island Boutiques, because Barb's an Island Boutique ambassador, which means I think it's quarterly. They send out packages and they have to create designs based on a theme. And then there's blog hops and all that stuff. Right now they're doing Into the Woods or something like that. I'll see if I can go ahead and put a link in the blog post of the blog hop, because I believe it just started today. But anyways, this is Island Boutique fabric, and I did not have anything to match. So I decided, I laid a bunch of different fabric down, figuring out. I tried some different boutiques, but since I don't have this color green and I don't have this color of a purple red, I decided to just frame it with black. Because I thought, if this was a picture and I was hanging it up, would I be able to put it in a black picture frame? And my mind said, yes, you can go ahead and frame it in black. It's okay. So I did that. I'd already had these hearts and strawberries on the back. Now I had more of this fabric, but I did not think that this would work as a binding, which was another reason I went with the black, because it matches the back. Once again, I was hand stitching it down. There's my little mitered corner there. This one, I don't know, maybe it was because it was the black on black and I was trying to do it at night. I had a little bit more trouble with this one. Here's a nice corner for you. Sometimes my miters come out really good, and other times, oh, I remember, I was trying different techniques. See, look at the front of that. That one, can we see that? It's hard with the black. But this one, it's a little off kilter here. Yeah, I won't know until I edit if you can actually see that, but I was trying different techniques where they say you can, when you're stitching it down on the front before you flip it to the back, that you can go to the corner and go out diagonally, or you can go to a 1/4 inch and go this way. And it just ended up being, I just like my standard where you go until you're a 1/4 inch from the end, and then you pull it out and flip it all around and do it that way. So that's just, whoops. Look, I got a little black stitch there that I didn't notice, but that's okay, because if I didn't point it out, you wouldn't know, right? But now that you know, you can see it easily. I don't care. It's going to be on the wall. It's mine. I love it. If my hearts have little slices and it doesn't bother me, then that little black stitch isn't going to bother me. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this up this week, and I probably won't show it to you again. Just know that this is one of the projects I'll be working on later today to get it finished, and next time you see it, it'll be on the wall behind me in a video. Barb has tons of fun patterns on her crafty site. If you have a chance to go look at them, there's some really nice ones there. She's a very creative quilter. And like you know, I try to put one out every week. I have finished my dishcloth. This is Grandma's favorite dishcloth. I knit it on size 5 needles. I go until I have 40 stitches and then I decrease down. I've been using the Peaches and Cream yarn. Michael's actually had a sale on it, and I bought a few more skeins of colors I haven't used yet. So yeah, you'll be seeing more of these. And once again, once I get everything caught up, this will be part of a Slow Stitch Sunday, and I'll show you how to knit these. Everyone's been being very patient with me, and I appreciate it. I will get to it. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to sit down and film it and get it at the right angle so that I can easily knit and you can easily see what I'm doing. So this is, where am I? This is the Gather Hat by Tin Can Knits. That I've heard it looks like cables, and I've heard that it looks like a mermaid tail, like the little waves and the stitches from the scales of a mermaid. I kind of agree with both. This is a simple, this is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to tell you all of it, but it's a simple, it's a gather stitch. You can easily look that up online and design a hat yourself. These are knit 2, purl 2 rib stitches. You can see that easily. And you just end up wrapping your yarn around your stitches, depending on how many you're doing, whether you're doing a 5 gather or 6 gather. This is Loops and Thread Impeccable yarn that I pick up at Michael's. It's a nice worsted weight yarn. It's not super soft, but it's exactly what you'd expect it to be. They do soften up as they wash them, but if you're looking for an economical yarn that looks nice and comes in a variety of colors, it's on sale probably 75% of the time at Michael's, and otherwise you can use one of their coupons. They're constantly coming out with a 40 or 50% off an item or 20% off your entire purchase, even on sale items, so that's always nice. This is a woman's size small. I think the pattern called for probably, they tend to call for a size 8 knitting needles for the hats, but I knit this in a size 5. For some reason when I'm knitting hats, I tend to knit a little looser, and I mean, a hat's supposed to keep your head warm, so I like to go with a smaller needle. Plus, I had to go out and purchase a size 6 that I didn't have. I'll show you that on my next hat. I started another hat. Now this one is going to be a gift. I just picked up some cheap loops and thread aluminum circular needles. As I said, I needed a size 6, and you use a 16-inch for hats because of the small circumference. And luckily they had purples. The hat I'm knitting here is the teenager approved hat. This is the 6th one that I've knit because my son Robbie loves these hats. It's a slouchy hat. It's by Aaron Anton of the Homespun Life. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And Robbie, I knit this to Robbie's specifications because I'm figuring most boys around the age of 19, they're either going to like a snug beanie or they're going to like these slouchy hats. Now these slouchy hats have become very popular. He likes his with Caron Simply Soft. This, it feels kind of stiff, like it's like, I don't know, like it's going to break or something. It's not a very soft yarn, but once I start working with it in my hands, it really goes and loosens up. And after the first wash and dry through a washer and dryer, it becomes so soft. All of his friends really love this hat, and I've knit a couple for them also. I've made his in a variety of colors, but he mostly just likes the black because it goes with whatever he's wearing. Now, as I said, this is going to be a slouchy hat, and he likes it. I believe it's from here that I knit an extra 9.5 inches on top of the brim, so it has a lot of poof up at the top of his head, and that works out really good right now because he's doing that man bun thing. He has very, very thick hair, and I don't know, I think he just doesn't like to spend the money to get a haircut, so he's letting it grow out. 19-year-old boys, what are you going to do with them, right? Because I always knit socks in this bag, I'm always going to have the fun of saying, now, in my turtle bag, my husband caught the mailman yesterday, so he actually got my package of yarn. I just ordered the one skein of the Patton's Croix socks in the color Sunburst Stripes to finish Robbie's rainbow socks off. If you remember from last week, I'd run out of yarn before I got to the point where the leg has to match the foot, so I still have a long way to go. And in my mind, because I didn't have the yarn, I was thinking, well, I can't finish Robbie's socks, so why bother knitting on them? So I really didn't knit very much. I still had all this yarn left. I probably knit about 12 rows, so I got from here to here. But I had picked it up a couple days ago and started knitting on it again. So it's getting there. What I'm going to do is, this one I'm going to keep knitting on it until I run out. And yeah, it's still going to go through a couple more colors. We're going to get into this green and yellow color that you see here. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I'm going to have to match these up and see where this goes and where it ends and where it's going to turn into the green, because it's just starting to transition a little bit into a grungy blue. So we're getting ready to get into this section here where the green's going to start. So I don't want to start this and have it like right in the middle of the orange or start up with more blue. So I'm going to pull out the yarn and so that I can match it up. And there's plenty in here to finish both socks and still have enough to make a pair for myself. So that'll be good. So it'll have a nice continuation and flow. Once again, I knit his on Chowgu. I really love the red lace. As I told you, it's a really nice flexible cable that doesn't get stiff and twisted. I don't have to worry about it getting all tangled. These are called light bulb markers. I pick these up and I mark his rows every 10. A lot of people have these markers, and I do have them, obviously. And right now they are marking 2 little holes, because sometimes when I knit on these at night, I'll fall asleep while knitting, and I can knit without looking at my project for the most part. So apparently my husband says I keep knitting while I'm sleeping for a few bit, and I must have done something to manage. Put a little hole here and a little hole there. It's not like a hole that's going to unravel. It's just I did something weird with the stitches and I created an extra hole. So I'll just go through with some matching yarn on the inside and I'll just tighten those holes up and it'll be fine. I just do the regular toe where you increase on both sides of each side of the needles. So I increase a stitch at the beginning and the end here, and the beginning and the end there. I like to use the Flegel heel. That's just where, a lot of times when you're knitting a heel, you go back and forth and you never touch these stitches. But on this heel, as you're increasing, you're knitting around the entire sock. So I'll never be able to put a contrast heel in. I can do the toe and the cuff, even though Robbie doesn't like that, but I could do it. So I knit round and round for a while, and then when you start decreasing, that's when you go back and forth. Once again, look on the blog post for a list of common knitting terms. So if you're not a knitter, you'll be able to look up and understand anything that I'm saying. But unfortunately, without being a sock knitter, if I say something like a Flegel heel, you're really not going to understand that at all. But I do enjoy knitting on my circular needles. They have these new Addy flippets or something like that, where you have the beginning of the needle, you have a small needle, and then you have a short cable, and then you have another small needle. So it's like 3 double pointed needles, but they have cables in the middle, and it's supposed to make your sock knitting go really fast. I'm going to try those out soon, but right now they're $25 for a set of 3 needles, so I'm holding off a little bit on that until I'm positive that I'm going to want to try them. I really wish they had a place like you could go to a knitting store and try these needles out. Not many places do that, but it would be really nice if you could just have a sample sock that you could sit and knit on a little bit to see if you like the needle before you purchase it. Because at $25, that's really a big investment if you're not going to enjoy knitting them. And just so you got a kind of a reference, these needles are under $10. And I would only be able to knit on 1 sock at a time if I had those $25 needles, instead of doing the 2 concurrent ones like I enjoy. But Robbie just gets a plain vanilla sock with no decoration on it. I do use the waffle stitch by Wilma Becker. It's a toe-up sock pattern, but I don't do the special stitches because he likes his just nice and plain. Turtle, turtle. And because I did work on this, I'm just going to show you real quick. Once again, I showed these yesterday and Tuesday. I did spend a lot of time each night winding the embroidery floss. These were so generously donated to me, the container and the loose floss. I still have some duplicates left here. I did not wind, like there was several, about 5 or 6 black, so I did not wind them up. But just so you can see what embroidery floss skein looks like. Ooh. This is a Publix pharmacy bag. I save all my bags from everywhere because they're Ziploc bags, and as you can see, it was really hard to get into. But this is basically an embroidery floss skein. It says DMC, so that wherever the brand is, whoever it is, will be up here. And then you get a little number. So DMC floss 310 now. They do have die lots on floss. If you know you're going to be doing a project, a lot of times the black isn't too bad, but if you're using a blue or something, they say it's best to buy all your floss at the same time that you're going to need for a project, because sometimes it depends on whatever it depends on when they're dyeing. It might be a little different, and while it looks the same to us if we were to put 2 skeins together like this, they both look the same. But once you start cross-stitching with them, embroidery, it's a little bit different because there's not always thread piled next to each other. But when you're cross-stitching and you do this skein and then you bring a new one in that you bought like 6 months later, sometimes you can see a little bit of a difference in the dye, like a shade different, and it'll be very noticeable on a project. So you should try to always buy as much as you need for your project in one time, specifically with cross-stitch. Like I said, with doing hand embroidery, you can usually get away with different shades because a lot of times you're shading projects anyway. But I did spend a lot of time on that, and because I did that, I rewarded myself with a new embroidery project. This is the floral unicorn embroidery hoop designed by QTCrafts.com. It's meant to go into a 6-inch hoop. I have it right now in an 8-inch hoop. What's really nice about these hoops is they show you right there that there's an 8 on it, so you don't even have to worry about measuring it. You just know it's an 8-inch hoop. Right now I really don't go by size. I'm like, okay, this is going to fit my pattern. I lay my hoop on top, it fits, there you go. I believe this was just part of the design, this outside circle, to show you where your hoop is going to be, but I really liked it, so I think I'd rather hang this in an 8-inch hoop, and I'm going to embroider with 6 strands, nice and thick embroidery all the way around here. Maybe something that looks like a rope, because a unicorn basically is like a horse with a unicorn with a horn on its head, so maybe like a braided rope around it or something. I haven't decided on that yet, but I've been having fun doing these stitches. A lot of times a pattern will tell you what stitches to use, or you can just go crazy and do whatever you want. I am one of those crazy people where I really enjoy doing French knots, but I actually do a colonial knot, which kind of locks the knot in a little bit better, and it keeps it from being too wobbly. As you see, these are in there nice and tight. They don't really move. Now, of course, if I push it really hard, it's going to, this one sticks up a little bit more than the rest. It all depends on how you put your needle back through. But yeah, these are nice and sturdy, and they don't tend to be too loose. Maybe not this project specifically, but I will be doing some embroidery on my slow stitch Sundays, and I'll show you a few different stitches. Now, I'm not a professional, and I've only really I used to always do like the back stitch, so I'm really just learning these stitches right now. So if you'd like to learn with me and watch me struggle and figure out different tips and tricks to get these stitches to work for me, you're more than welcome to come around and watch them. And if you prefer not to watch embroidery, I'm really okay with that too. But you're still going to see it on my WIP It Wednesdays. So I'm really enjoying this. And as I was looking through my embroidery floss, I have some fun glittery kind that I think is going to work really well in the mane here. I wasn't sure what I was going to do until I came across that floss, and I'm not going to show you today. It'll be a surprise when you see it next time when I work on this. I'm trying to just go through and get all the flowers and the leaves done for now, and then saving this is like, this feels like it's going to be special and fun to work on, so I'm saving the mane as like a reward for myself after a rough day. Alright, here's what took up most of my time. When I'm working on the rare bears, if I try to spend usually a full day on it, like 6 hours, I'll start sometime when I first come into the room in the morning around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I like to work on it all the way through until I stop around 4 to start dinner and everything. Of course, I do stop in the middle for a little lunch break and stuff, otherwise I wouldn't survive. But it took me 3 days of those basic 6-hour days, you know, little breaks here and there. But I did get my 10 bears done, and these are probably going to be the last bears that I make. So let's see what they look like. Now, for those of you that don't know, Rare Science is an organization that studies rare diseases in children, and as part of their organization, they like to make a bear. They like to have bears donated to the children that are sick, so that when they're in the hospital and something, they're always having a friend to snuggle up with. So they call these the rare bears because they're from the rare science and they're rare diseases. And they ask for donations of either money or to make actual bears to donate for the children. And what they ask is that when you make the bears, that you don't stuff them. So I thought that was going to be a really great charity for me, because you can fit a lot of bears. I fit 5 of them in a manila envelope and just mailed it for a little over $3. So I thought that was great. And several of you were very generous and donated some fabric to me. And I've been working through that fabric. I still have a little bit left, but I think I'm going to be done making bears. They're very stressful for me. There's a lot of tension in my shoulders, which causes pain, because I've had 3 surgeries on one shoulder and 1 on the other, so I've already got issues with my shoulders. And I want to have something that I'm putting love into, not frustration. So as I've talked before, that these are going to be my last rare bears. And if everyone who's donated fabric, if you guys don't mind, I thought I would go ahead and just turn those into quilts and either donate them to my local hospital. They have those isolate covers that they like to put in the NICU, or maybe donate them to, if I can find another organization locally that takes kind of like Project Linus, but we don't have a very organized Project Linus as far as I can tell in this area. There's just, when you look it up, there's just one lady's house that organizes it, and I've never heard back from her before when I've contacted her in the past. So I think that might just be an old listing and we might not have anyone in the area. And wait. For any of you that are thinking about it, I do not want to head the Project Linus organization. There's a lot of behind the scenes with that. You're required to receive so many donations a year. You're required to raise money and all of that, and that's definitely not my strong point. But anyways, so these are my last 10 bears. This is the Dr. Seuss Thing 1, Thing 2. And as I mentioned many times, I did not have enough of the fabric to make an entire bear. So what I did is I just used some of this blue fabric to contrast on the arms and legs. And I think that works really well. I think that's even better than if he was an entire Dr. Seuss bear. And they give you a tag to put in the back talking about where you can donate to find cures for rare kids. And then they have a number so that they can track who made the bear and who it was sent to. Now, I've gone on the website and I've tried to find where my bears have been sent to, and I have not found any. So either my bears haven't found a home yet, or they're just not updating the website, because I'm sure they're very, very busy, so that's not like a high priority. And I'm okay with that. I'll just keep checking to see if they go to a home anywhere. And then I had this pirate fabric. Let's see if we get a nice shot. Oh, we got a nice shot of his butt. So this pirate fabric is really kind of cute. So I think I used up the last of this also. And once again, I added blue fabric that was donated with it. So he's got a little bit of I even paid attention enough to put a blue streak down his head. Everything looks a little funny because, you know, they're not stuffed. The ears are stuffed, and I keep my ears a little bit soft. I don't want them too stiff. Plus, if you fill them up too much, it makes it hard to sew them. Oh, and they have their little rare science. They give you, not only do they give you the tag, but they give you these little pieces for the bottom of their foot, so they mark them as a rare bear. And there's his tag number. I show you guys the tags in case anyone who's interested or who's donated the fabric wants to go to the website and try to find where their bears have gone off to. If anyone else is interested, I kept a list of them in my little notebook, so if in the future anyone's curious if they ever made it to a home, I can always give them the number or look it up. This guy's got the footballs, and I thought the tan fabric would go good because that's kind of like a dirt field. And the footballs are brown, so that's what he got. And he is bear number 13872. This guy I thought turned out really cute too. He's like my second favorite. I went with this fun lizard fabric that a quilt shop donated. I believe the quilt shop is in Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong if you donate the fabric. But it's really, really cute fabric. And I went with the yellow to go with the yellow lizards. Plus the yellow stands out nice and bright against the black. So I think he turned out really cute. He is number 15010. Yeah, I never really did quite get the hang of deciding which pieces go where and coordinating them. So he's half lizard and then he's half yellow. But once you put the arms on and stuff, it kind of balances it out. But they're cute. I am going to make one more. I'm going to take my son Robbie's leftover plaid shirts that he used to wear. He used to wear a lot of those button-up style plaid shirts, and I'm going to put some interfacing to strengthen it because it is a bit of a thin material. And I'm going to make a bear for myself to remember the time when he was called Plaid and he wore all those plaid shirts. Now this one I wasn't too sure on how it actually matched, but it had this balloon fabric. And I didn't really have anything to go with it, so I thought, well, the balloons is a little bit childish, so I went with this school fabric. And I thought it looks okay because, I mean, they're just supposed to be rare bears, so he's definitely rare because you're not going to find him out in the wild. And he is bear number 15774. So I still think he came out pretty cute because of the basic primary colors and the brightness of the balloons and stuff. So he worked out well. Normally I do one fabric on one side and the opposite on the other, but this guy decided to let him just have balloons on one ear and the Crayola on the other. Now, okay, I'm going to say this a lot because these were my favorites too. These are the baseball bears. I got this guy with a red face and he's got the extra blue with a black ear, and I think he turned out really cute. This is what his butt looks like. I don't know, a stuffed animal little butt. Winnie the Pooh's wiggling his butt all the time. I don't know, I just consider it kind of cute. This fun black fabric. This was supposed to be, I believe this is from a Robert Kaufman kit to make a pillowcase, but she wasn't going to make the pillowcase, so she sent it to me. This is bear number 15597. So this was the accent strip, so it wasn't very thick at all. I barely got these pieces on this way. So there's just a little bit of that, and I believe that this was the cuff, and then this was the actual pillowcase, the main part of the body. And I just added in the blue to balance it out because red, white, and blue again. I can't seem to get away from that. But now this guy, he has a little bit more of the black. I thought it'd be fun to give him his little snout in black. And he still has the red, white, and blue with his baseball. He is bear number 15455. Yeah, many favorites in this batch of bears. They're just so cute. They'd asked for more boy-themed bears at one point, and that's the type of fabric that was sent. And it's just really cute, and I like these bright colors for the kids. This one is more of a juvenile. I had some of the leftover, the swirly bears, and then these are the dinosaurs. And then I had some more bug fabric and threw more of the Crayola in. Look, he's got animal tracks. So this guy is really a mishmash. Oh, and the blue spotted cloudy-like fabric. He is just a little bit of everything. It's like one of those toys where you can take apart all the pieces, mix them together, and put them together however you want. Well, yep, he's my little Frankenbear. He is cute, and he is number 15570. Now, it wouldn't be my bears if I didn't make some type of mistake. And as I mentioned in Tuesday's video, where is the side seam? I constantly forgot on all of them. All 10 of them I stitched them. Then I realized I was supposed to leave this opening. Now, because of their stuffed animals for kids, I shortened my stitch length quite dramatically, which made it very difficult to pop open the seam. I had to be really careful that I didn't rip anything. And yeah, it was a struggle. But so let me show you on this guy. I got this cute little plaid bear. You know, he's adorable. He's black and red. I wasn't paying attention. I grabbed black and red, and he got the wrong head. Whose head did he get, did you ask? Well, he got this guy's head. As you see with the branding, the Texas brand marks that I thought were hieroglyphics, were supposed to go with this gray chevron zigzaggy stripe fabric, and then the plaid would be all plaid. Well, good thing that red and gray or red and black goes with both of them, so I was not going to be taking our heads apart. Because once again, because they're for kids, okay, this opening of the head is like literally this big. And you have to hold it in the machine and just stitch in this little section here. And I'm worried that I don't get it quite perfectly around, so I stitch it twice, about 1/8 or 1/4 inch apart from each other, so the heads are nice and secure. Because if the kids love it on it, I want to make sure that their head's not going to pop off. That would be horrible for the kids. So at that point, I'm like, no way am I taking that head off. It is red and gray. It matches. It is what it is, right? And once again, they're meant to not really be identical. It's not like it's all a red bear so that everything has to match. You're making them really fun, so it's okay. And this guy is number 14791. And this guy with the little granite countertop belly, he is bear 15772. So I've donated 16 bears this year. I basically made all these in the last 3 to 4 months, I think. And that's a pretty good donation. I'm turning 50 in February next year, and I was really looking for a sewing charity project that for next year, for my 50th birthday, even though it's at the beginning of the year, by the end of the year, I would have liked to donated 50 items. And I was hoping it was going to be the bears, because 1 bear a week really isn't that bad. I was doing 5 bears a month until I got this section of 10 going. And I thought that was pretty good, but I really don't think I have 50 bears in me, so I'm going to need to find something different. But that's okay, because sometimes it's just the fun of looking for these projects as much as it is the fun of making these. So me and all of my favorite bears, because I can't just really choose one, want to say thank you for watching my videos, for liking and commenting and subscribing. If you like this style of video, come on back next Wednesday, and on Fridays I have a Sew With Me where I'm doing a project. I am trying to do different projects right now that use up those calculator strips, because everyone's always asking me what you can do with them. So Friday's video, I'm going to do a quick little project that shows you how to use a small section of the calculator strips. So if you're interested in that, come on back and see me on Friday. Tuesdays, I have my Talk to Me Tuesdays, where I give you a quick what have I been doing this week, what's been going on in my life, here's my projects. As I said, Wednesdays we go really in depth, and it's usually at least a half hour to a 45-minute episode of what I'm working on. And look forward to those Slow Stitch Sundays, because I will be showing you how to do some embroidering and simply knitting. I just have to get my camera angle all set up and figure out how I'm going to do it. But I promise you, within the next month, I will have some type of a video up for you. So if that's what you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have any special ideas of what you'd like to see me do. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye!